Boolean modeling, the dreaded Boolean modeling, or solid modeling as it's called as well. Been around for a long time, and a lot of people avoid it like the plague due to the oftentimes buggy results and terrible topology. But the point was never to create beautiful topology with Booleans. It was to get quite complex shapes quite quickly and simply. So subdivision modeling obviously has been the trend for a long time, but a lot of people now I see a bit of a trend. They're reverting back to Boolean modeling because of some shading techniques and baking techniques and that in real-time asset creation that allows you to just take the detail, obviously bake it from the high to the low, or just render it out using like a rounded edges kind of shader. So it's making a bit of a comeback. And I've seen tools like Hard Ops and Blender that looks pretty cool. Mesh Fusion, it's not really, it's a different type of Booleans. It's almost like Dynameshing, that's in Modo, and of course the ZBrush. So good old Max, stalwart old Max, with its incredible ProBoolean tool set that's been in it for donkey's years now and hasn't really been touched like a lot of features. But I just wanted to show this is kind of the poor man's version of Blender's Hard Ops, which is quite ironic considering Blender is the poor man's choice of 3D application because it's free. But anyways, I'll stop rambling and get making. So the basic idea is this is this is going to be kind of our source object here, this cube, and then we just created all these meshes here. You can kit bash all these. You can have a library of these pieces, all sorts of shapes and sizes, and then just use them. Use whatever you like. So I have a few here, just simply created, just using basic tools. Like these were created from splines, and then a shell modifier. Same with these. These are going to be panel lines, just created with splines. Basic primitives. But the main thing is, you want your objects to be just watertight solid meshes, but you can use any method you like to create them. So I'll select our cube here, and I actually did a video like this, I don't know, a while back. It was kind of just more of a test. I wanted to see if I could mimic the Boolean kind of operations in ZBrush using subdivided kind of Boolean over here in Max, and also doing it non-destructively in the stack. So this time I've just decided to return to this again, the same subject, but instead of using subdivisions, I'm just going to use the Chamfer modifier, or quad chamfer as it was known until it was plugged into Max. So first thing you want to do here, if your object selected, just come to extended compound objects and down to ProBoolean. Now Boolean has been in it for a long time, but ProBoolean kind of superseded it as a more modern version. I think it was from what's that company called, NPower. I think it was one of their tools before it was also plugged into Max. So just select ProBoolean and note that your object now that was an editable poly is now a ProBoolean. So these objects here, as I said, you can create them any way you like. Add edit polys onto the stack, or just collapse them to edit poly, and then before we start using them as the Boolean for Boolean operands, you can just shift clone them, drag them aside so they can reuse them, because once you use them in an operation, they'll essentially disappear in the form that they were in the scene and become part of this Boolean object. So we'll start by just grabbing this part here, and the handy little tip is just Shift A for quick align, and then just click on your box and that'll just align the pivots, center them up there, so it'll give you a quick head start. You don't have to move everything around in screen space, and then you just want to position this whatever. I'm just going to position these pieces wherever you like, and I've no design in mind or anything for this. I'm just kind of randomly sticking these bits and bobs in, but obviously if you're making something like a gun or whatever it was, any kind of mechanical object, you'd want to plan out in advance and see how to derive the shape from carving all these shapes in or adding them on. So with that disclaimer out of the way for the crapness that is about to occur, I'll continue on. So with that piece in place, then, as I said there as well, you can you can just shift clone that away and grab it away for later. There won't in this case, but just if you get in the habit of doing that, you'll always have those pieces available then to reuse. But not to fear as well, because it's a non-destructive thing. You can extract operands from the Boolean object and then copy them, and then resubtract or attach or whatever you want to do. So it's all pretty non-destructive, this stuff. Right, so start picking, and there's not many settings here you need to worry about. Start picking obviously is the main one, and then what you're going to do, what operation you want to do. So in this case, subtraction, so I'll just start picking. And by default here, this won't be on. I had it on there as I was messing around, so by default this is what you'll get. But that brings me to my next point anyway. This advanced options rollout here, the main two things I'll be using here are the decimation, quadrilateral tessellation. So if you make it into quads, the nature of Booleans is going to leave n-gons all over the place, so you can quad it up here. You can also do this in the stack by using the quadify modifier, but you can quadrilateralize, don't get to say that word very often, just from writing the ProBoolean advanced options. So there's that. I'm going to put that up to 8 for the time being, and you can see there the percentage. The lower it is, the smaller the quads, the more quads you're going to have, and the more the Boolean operation has to work with. So I'm going to actually leave this off for the moment. And also this planar edge removal, usually either have it to remove all or no edge removal I would not use. You'll see when we add the chamfer modifier, so it's either this remove only invisible or remove all. So I'm going to leave it on remove only invisible for the moment. And now I'll come back up into the stack. I'm just going to add the chamfer modifier, turn off wireframe, and you can see now what's going on. So by default you want to change this, I'm going to leave it at quad chamfer, and set the segments to 2, and drop the tension down to usually about 0.5. You can play with these settings, and I set the input options from smoothing to unsmooth edges. And you can see we have some weird normal issues going on here, but they can be fixed up. It's not a huge thing. If I turn make quadrilateral back on, they instantly disappear. We're still going to have some ones like this, but what you can do also is to clean this stuff up at the end, you can add an edit poly modifier, clean up some of the Boolean topology, or you can add an edit normals modifier and manually change some of the mesh normals, the face normals, to relieve those smoothing errors. But I'm not going to go into that. Maybe I'll just show it, touch on it there at the end of the video. You can see them here and here. There's a lot of them. You can drop this down. We still have some dents. It's a good idea to have this material I have here. It's just a standard material with a high specular. It's good for hard surface stuff. It shows up any weirdness. You can see all that dent in there. And if I turn on the wireframe, you can see the ropey topology. But the likes of these, you can do some cleanup if you want. With the edit poly modifier, so I'm just going to set that back to 8, or you can play around with the percentage till you get something that you like. So I'll move on with the Boolean show. So I'm going to just grab this one now, and same again, shift A, quick align, and turn on angle snaps, and turn on angle snaps, rotate it and just rotate it and move it into position. Now you could put a different material on these just while you're working here, just to make it maybe a bit easier to see. I'll just scale it up. I'm not too sure, as I said, what I'm doing here. I'm just messing about really. And here's a case now where, you know, I want to do that on the other side as well, so I'll just shift clone it across. I'm not going to be too fussy here, but I'll just line it up back to our Boolean and start picking. And you can see there now with the chamfer and the stack, obviously we get you know, instant feedback. And that leads me on then to the next thing. You know, once you cut these out or add them in to the mesh, you can always come down here into the operand list and extract selected, and it'll pop it back out then. So you can take it back out then. So it's, as I say, non-destructive. So back to Boolean, and also you can come down here to operand and then select whatever operand, and you can move them then and rotate them and scale them in real time then, and see what's going on, get a better idea. So might want to bring that down and maybe move it out just to get rid of that unsightly kind of piece, and move it down there, back a bit. Yeah, I'll just leave it there for the moment, and then instead of trying to match it up on that side, I'll just select this one, extract selected, and just come out with a stack and delete that, and then I want to extract this one and just shift drag it across. I could have just made these the same object, but or mirrored all this at the end or whatever. Not to worry, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to just bring that back a bit more. It's all, as I've said a couple of times now, non-destructive, so you can, you know, you can play around. Something else that could come in useful here is these sort of panel lines. So same again, Shift A, and get these into position, and you can see now this is just an, you know, an editable spline collapsed to an editable poly then. So what it's going to do, it's subtracting, so it's going to be curved on the inside. If you can think of it like this, concave part of it here is what we're looking for, you know. So you can, if you want as well to save you going up and down the stack, you can just get rid of the chamfer or cut it and paste it back in then, if that's annoying you. So, you know, you could use these as panel lines. That's creating all sorts of artifact in there. So you can mess around with this to relieve that. And that's basically it. That's pretty much you know, all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It's far from perfect, you know. It does leave a lot of artifact in it, but there are ways around it, as I was saying earlier on, because it's fairly intense kind of what's going on, you know. When you think about it topologically, you're just, you know, grabbing arbitrary kind of shapes and chopping them out in chunks from other arbitrary shapes. So something like Mesh Fusion, I suppose, or even the Dynamesh, which I'm pretty sure Mesh Fusion, I'm sure they got the idea from there, from Dynamesh. You know, there's tools that are specially created for that purpose. Well, not Dynamesh, but Mesh Fusion, but you know, Dynamesh is perfectly set up for that type of thing because it's dynamic topology. So start picking, just chop these out, and you know, you can see, you can kind of see where this is going. I'm not just going to keep rinsing and repeating. Just one thing I will show is just rotate these around. I've just been doing subtractions, but obviously there's other options there in the operations list. What you can do: union, intersection, merge. I don't really use any of those. Intersection, well, whatever's left between the two intersected meshes will be what's kept. Union is going to add on, and subtraction obviously is going to take away. So they're the ones that, not that I'm using this all the time, but they're the ones that I find myself using the most. So start picking with union on, and we can add on. So yeah, as I say, that's pretty much it. And one more thing I wanted to show was if I just open the material editor, I've just set up a few materials, mental ray material, just an arc and design. If you come down to special effects, turn on round corners, and set up the parameters of, you know, the distance, in this case 2 centimeters, and a V-ray material with an edges to V-ray edges text in the bump slot, and that's just set up here. That's the parameter set up there, world units. So let me see what render is on. V-ray is on. I'll just apply that V-ray material and take off that chamfer modifier. I'll just turn it off and render. And it's a bit too small, so I will just put it up. And yeah, it's the same idea here. Modo also is a rounded edges shader, and they're fairly common nowadays, V-ray and mental ray, as you'll see as well. So that's the V-ray one, and mental ray had it, I think, a long time ago, long before most of the others. So I'll just assign that, and off screen here I'm just changing the renderer over. This is the first time I've used mental ray in, I don't know, years. So I render it in mental ray. I'm not even changing any settings, I'm just basically rendering and getting some craziness. I'm not sure what's happening there, but oh, maybe it's viewport clipping or something. I'll try that again. Yeah, not too sure what's going on there. But not to worry anyway. This is it's just to show you like how you can set up those how you can set those shaders up. And that is yeah, that's basically it. That's all there is to it, really. So I'm not too sure. You can bake these rounded edges out from V-ray. I haven't tried it yet. I definitely know now that it's very, very easy to do in Modo, especially the latest release of Modo 10, where all the baking it's kind of aimed at game asset creation, and looks like it's become a very powerful tool in that pipeline. So yeah, that's it, and I will leave it at that. Alright, sorry if this was a bit haphazard. It's Sunday afternoon now at this stage, but anyway, thanks for watching. Hope it was gave you a few ideas or whatever was slightly useful. Alright then. Cheers, thanks, good luck.